Hello guys, welcome to the CSS crash course. In this video, we'll look at the CSS position property. My name is Kafui and welcome to my channel mods.dev. Please subscribe, like and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. With that said, let's dive in. The position property in CSS is used to specify the positioning method of an element on a web page. There are several values for the CSS position property. So in this video, we'll look at them one after the other. In my index.html file, I have my h1 element and my paragraph element with a class of text. And then I created a style.css file which I have linked in my HTML document. So the first position property we'll talk about is static positioning. This is the default position value. Elements with position set to static are positioned according to the normal flow of the HTML document. The top, left, bottom, right, and Z index properties have no effect on statically positioned elements. So I'll just go ahead. I'll select my paragraph element using the class of text, and then I'll say position static, and I save. So upon doing that, this doesn't have effect on the paragraph element because this is the default position value. So when I try to offset it using the top, and then let's say the right, and then the left properties, and then finally the bottom properties, they don't have any effect on it. So I'll just say top 100 pixels, left 100 pixels, and then finally right 100 pixels. And when I do that and save, they don't have effect on statically positioned element. So that is the first position method, which is what? Static. The next one we'll look at is called relative positioning. Relative positioning, or element position set to relative, are positioned relative to their normal position. You can use the top, left, and right properties to offset the element from its normal position without affecting the layout of the element. So I'll just go ahead, comment this one out, and then I'll say position relative and save. So nothing happens. So now I can use the top property and say, let's say 100 pixels from the top, then right 100 pixels from the right. I'll say bottom, let me write that, 100 pixels from the bottom, and then finally left 100 pixels. And when I do that and save, so you see that these properties, top, left, right properties, have effect on what? Relatively positioned element. So it will offset it. So when I go out, and then I'll just comment these ones, I'll comment this one out and quickly so that we see how they offset it. So when I do that and save, now our paragraph element is now offset 100 pixels from the top. So I'll comment this one out and comment this one in, and save. Is now offset 100 pixels from the right. I'll comment this one in. Is now offset 100 pixels from the bottom, and then finally the left, and save. Is now offset 100 pixels from the left. So the next position method we'll talk about is the absolute positioning. Elements with position set to absolute are removed from the normal document flow and positioned relative to their closest positioned element with a position value other than static, or to the initial containing block if no positioned ancestor is found. So I'll just go ahead and demonstrate that to you. I'll say position, and I'll set it to absolute and save. So now this element is now taken out of the normal document flow. So I can use the top property and say 100 pixels, and when I do that and save, now this paragraph element is now offset what? 100 pixels from the top. So you can use any value. You can even put what? Percentages. So I'll just say right. So for the right property, I'll say 50% and save. Now it is now offset 50% what? From the right per is what? Containing element, or is container. So I'll comment that one out, and I'll say bottom, let me say 100 pixels. I'm just using pixels here, and now it will now be offset what? 100 pixels from what? The bottom. And then finally I'll say left. I'll just say left what? You can use a rem unit here, so I'll just say 100 rem and save. So it is now gone. Let me just decrease it small. Let me just say, for instance, 10 rem, so that we can see it. So it's now what? Offset 10 rem from what? The left. So that is it about the absolute position element. So the next one we'll talk about is fixed positioning. Elements with position set to fix are removed from the normal document flow and are positioned relative to the viewport. These elements remain in the same position even when the user scrolls the page. So I'll just go ahead and then select our H1 and then demonstrate this for you to see. So I'll say position fixed and save. So now this H1 element is now position fixed. So when I go to my index.html file and then add more text, I'll just add a paragraph and then use lorem to generate. Let's say, let me just add like 500 more text and save. Now when I try to scroll, this element is what? Fixed at this what? Position. So I can use the top, so I can just say top 0. So it is now position fixed at the top, so it will just be at the top, it will not move. Or I can say 100 pixels, and I can use any unit, as I can use percentages. So this will now be offset and fixed at what? 100 pixels from the top. So I'll just comment that out and I'll just say bottom. I'll say 0 and save. Now this H1 is now positioned and fixed at the bottom. So the same way for the right and then the left values. I'll just say 100 pixels and then left 100 pixels and save. So you see that it is now offset from the right 100 pixels and then from the left also what? 100 pixels. So that's it about fixed positioning. Then the next one we'll look at is called sticky positioning. So I'll just go ahead. Now let me just scroll to the top so that we can see our element. So elements with position value set to sticky are a hybrid of relative and fixed positioning. So I'll just say position sticky. VS Code gives us auto completion and then save. So when I begin to scroll my page, you see that it behaves like what? Fixed and then relative position element. So I'll just say top 0 and save. Now this H1 will remain at the top when I begin to scroll my page. So I'll do that for you to see. So it's now at this place. When I try to scroll, it's now sticky at the top, and we can use this in building nice navigation bars on our website. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section for discussion. Please subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.